Yeah, we can call it.
Sorry.
Y'all about ready? Because I'm happy. You call
Not the same. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I think what we're going to do is we'll call out a time that we ask y'all to go present them.
I'm good. No, she don't. I'm just trying to get all the commissioners in the seat.
I was gonna say that was boy, that was weak.
Let's do.
Hey then, you need to go get something real quick. I'll be right back. It's the
We're gonna ready. Trying to wait on Jeff. We got 10 minutes.
He is. He's on his way. Just Hey, okay, we're ready. Sorry. I heard it. Well, this is the one that it's fine. This works. This works. Yeah, oh yeah. One must have just walked off, so it's fine. Because I saw it earlier. I know it wasn't.
Make sure all of our commissions are in place. We're getting ready to start our meeting. The Caddo Parish Commission meeting, the regular session meeting for April 20, 2023 at 3:30 is about to be called to order by Ms. Ashley Mitchell, my granddaughter. So here we go.
The meeting is called to order. Roll call, please.
All right, Commissioner Hopkins.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Young.
Here.
Commissioner Burrell.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Gage Watts.
Present.
Commissioner Cothran.
Here.
Commissioner Atkins.
Here.
Commissioner Chavez.
Commissioner Burrell, she does that so much better than you. Here.
Well, look, don't try to trade my job out too soon.
Present.
Commissioner Lazarus.
Here.
And Commissioner Epperson.
Present.
All right, that means you have 10 of 12 members present. That does constitute a quorum.
Okay, we're gonna call.
Clifton.
We're gonna call him
Want all of the guest commissioners to come up?
Do this.
Would y'all like to go to
Go to the speaker. Identify yourself, what school you're from, and each one of you all will come. And everybody, take your seats back here, okay? Go ahead.
We're gonna,
Say your
well,
name.
what we, let me get this. The invocation is supposed to be done by Commissioner Stephon Jones, Jones representative, Ms. Cheyenne Morris, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be done by Commissioner Cothran's representative, Mr. Clifton Walker. Ms. Cheyenne Morris.
Good afternoon.
Everybody stand, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Will you please bow your heads for our invocation? Father God, we thank you for this day. And Lord, we thank you for protecting us on our way here to this place. And Lord, we thank you for this place that you put in the hands of the people, Lord, to build for us, Lord. And Lord, we just thank that you watch over us, Lord, and watch over your people and hold us in your hands and your heart, Lord. And Lord, we know that there is a lot going on in this world today, Lord, but we know that you hold it all in your hands, Lord. And we just ask that you watch over everyone on this planet, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Veterans and active military members saluting during recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance would be appropriate, should you wish to do so. All others, please recite with your hands over your hearts as we ask that everyone please remember our POWs, MIAs as we say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cheyenne Morris and Mr. Clifton Walker. At this time, we will ask our invited guests, our representative, if they would come up and sit next to their representative or their commissioner.
Mr. President, we were going to ask them to state their names as they come up.
Okay, that would
Go
be
to
good.
the mic and state their names, please, and then come up and join us at the horseshoe.
And just for the record, for those who may be unfamiliar, the commissioners today have invited students from area schools to participate in Commissioner for a Day, where they've been enjoying activities associated with Caddo Parish in recognition of Parish County Government Month. And I'm sure they will share more about it, but just wanted to give a brief reference.
Thank you.
And also state who invited you.
My name is Clifton
Commissioner
Walker.
who invited you.
My name is Clifton Walker. I attend Captain Trape High School, and my commissioner was Mr. Cothran.
My name is Cheyenne Morris, and I don't know the commissioner who was invited by my teacher, but my teacher that from the high school that I attended, Woodlawn Leadership Academy, that's where I got invited from.
And that's
Commissioner Jones.
My name is Lindsay Lee, and I attend Northwood High School, and my commissioner is Mr. Stephon Jones.
My name is Wade Smith. I attend Evangel Christian Academy. My commissioner is Commissioner Epperson.
My name is Noah Cassis. I attend Bird High School, and I was invited by Mario Chavez.
My name is Braylon Stapleton, and I'm from Caddo Magnet High, and my commissioner is John Paul Young.
My name is Ephinian Sanders. I came from Woodlawn, and I was invited by Commissioner Stephon Jones.
All right.
Good afternoon. My name is Madison Gorey. I attend Captain Street High School, and I was invited by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
Hello, my name is Susie Jordan. I attend Huntington High School, and I was invited here by Commissioner Epperson.
Hi, my name is Takaya Patterson. I'm from Southwood High School, and I was invited by Storeen Gage Watts.
All right, let's speak up.
Takaya Patterson.
Hi, my name is Michaela Monroe. I'm from Captain Street High School, and my commissioner is Stormy Gage Watts.
Hi, my name is Addison Boyd. I attend Captain Treep High School, and I was invited by Commissioner Ed Lazarus.
My name is Lyndon Johnson. I attend Northwood High School, and I was invited by Lyndon Johnson.
Wait a minute. You invited yourself?
My name is Cameron Wilson. I attend Captain Street High School, and I was invited by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
Hi, my name is Willington Watts, and I was invited by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts, and I attend Walnut Hill Middle School.
Hello, my name is Ava Richardson. I attend Caddo Magnet High School, and Miss Stormy Gage Watts invited me.
My name is Ashley Mitchell. I attend Linwood School, and I was invited here by Roy Burrell.
Okay. Y'all get seated, we'll get things moving.
Mr. President, and just for the record,
Yes,
Mr. Mason Welch was also one that was invited, and he was here all morning, but he's on the Northwood baseball team.
Okay.
And he had to get back.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember the tall
Yes, sir.
gentleman, yeah, okay.
Playoffs. There was also Miss Hannah Kendrick that was a guest of Commissioner Young, who had to leave early as well.
Okay. All right, get everybody seated. I think that's everybody.
All right.
Mr. Clerk.
Would you like to proceed to agenda additions? We find ourselves at agenda additions, if there are any.
Mr. President.
Yes.
I'd like to suspend the rules to move item number 20.1 up to the top. And that's to appoint Ms. Erica Bryan as the Caddo Parish Administrator. Second. Because she has a lot of visitors in the audience.
Okay, 2021?
20.1.
20.1.
Point of order. I have a question. Ms.
Yes.
Bryant, are we ready?
We can delay it some and go through the agenda and maybe midway through the agenda we can.
Okay, she's waiting on the special piece.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
Thank you.
You were saying your
rescind my motion.
Okay. Mr. Clerk.
Okay, that brings us to citizens' comments. Citizens' comments where citizens who wish to address the commission on any issue other than zoning are asked to fill out a comment card located in the chamber foyer and return that to the president or the clerk of the commission. You may submit those in this box to my left here if you have not already. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes, and before the meeting we did recognize that we had received some comments related to a zoning issue and that those would not be appropriate at this point in time, but we offered an alternative method for those people to be able to submit their feelings. And so at this point in time, I believe there is one other public comment.
Okay, this public comment comes from Ms. Jennifer McKay. Is Ms. McKay here? State your name for the record, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Jennifer McKay. I'm here for the town of Greenwood. I'm their general counsel.
We're here to comment on ordinance 6321 of 2023. This is an amendment to an ordinance that appropriated money to the town of Greenwood for construction and improvements related to their water lines. That was done a couple years ago. The town wants to be very clear that they are against the proposed amendment. It is an unnecessary interference with the town's ability to govern itself. And we'd like to note that in terms of any concerns that have been expressed to this commission, that the Louisiana Department of Health is the regulatory body that oversees water systems. They're very technical. They have very specific requirements. And so additional oversight is unnecessary. The LDH publishes on their website the results from various tests, the city tests, and notices are sent when there's any areas of concern. So this is just an overreach, we believe, by this commission into the town's affairs, and we urge very strongly that you vote against the ordinance and leave the original ordinance as proposed, 6014, in place for the appropriation.
Thank you, Ms. McCary.
Thank you.
It appears that we have no other.
No other requests for citizens' comments at this time. So that would bring us to visitors, where our first item under visitors are the student commissioners for a day in recognition of County Government Month.
Okay. Have
And
a resolution? Or?
during this time, yes, we, depending on how y'all would like to take it, I don't know if y'all would like to make comments first. We do have a certificate that each of the participants will be presented with today. I would be happy to read that into the record, or if y'all would like to, have some comments prior to that, just let me know. And
Read
it into the record.
okay, so the certificate that will be presented to each of these participants reads, Caddo Parish Commissioner for a Day. The Caddo Parish Commission salutes and commends each student name in recognition of your participation in the Commissioner for a Day program on April 20th, 2023. We applaud your interest in learning more about the functions of Caddo Parish government and for taking time to tour our facilities and attend a regular session meeting of the Caddo Parish Commission. Your dedication to civic engagement and interest in local governance are an inspiration to us all and an appropriate source of pride as we celebrate County Parish Government Month. As a token of our appreciation, we present you with this certificate to commemorate your experience as a commissioner for a day. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors and encourage you to continue your path towards leadership and active citizenship. And that's signed by members of the Caddo Parish Commission.
Okay. We have all the certificates passed down, and we're working on that. Okay, at this time, we will take comments from the commission. Commissioner Epperson.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. All right. I'd just like to thank each and every one of these young persons that attended today. I'd like to thank the schools. This is, God, I don't know how many years that I've been here presenting this, but one thing that I would like to mention to them that we're very proud of you all coming today. They were very articulate, knowledgeable, and attentive. Learned a lot. I think we got a lot of them registered to vote. And I will be having an anniversary, if it's God's will, in June. My first commissioner for a day, Mr. Tony T. Williams from Keithville, Louisiana, who has spent a 24-year career in the United States Army. He's retired as a sergeant, a master sergeant E8. He has 3 degrees, and he's returning home in June back to Caddo Parish. So it's a lot of things that you can do, and you remember this day, and we'll be looking forward for you checking back with us, letting us know how you're doing in the future. And once Tony comes here, Tony always has checked with us throughout the years when he come home. And so we're looking for his return, and we're looking for the same thing from each and every one of you here today. I want you to check back and let us know how you're doing throughout your career. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Commissioner Coughlin.
First of all, it's truly an honor to have the young people seated around this horseshoe. And it was definitely a distinct pleasure in my meeting each and every one, but particularly Clifton here to my right. As you can see, he is definitely dressed for success. As a matter of fact, we kind of look like twins. But in saying that as well, in talking with him, he said he did not have any clue that all these things happen in the parish, and he wished every young person and some adults had that same opportunity, which made me think forward, and maybe this should happen a little bit more than once a year. Because once again, the more we could encourage young people, the more we could show them really what government is about, probably the more they would want to actively get involved as well. So I say again to each and every one of you all around this horseshoe, congratulations, continue to do your best, and upon graduation, send some cards to some of these people around this horseshoe and get you some gifts as well. Thank you.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yeah, I too want to welcome and thank each and every one of you for participating today. If we just looked around this room and each one of these students stayed in Caddo Parish and brought what they have, the talents they have, boy, would this be a great parish in 10 years. They would really help build it. I also want to make a special acknowledgement to Mr. Smith. Mr. Epperson invited him, but he does live in District 1. So I just want to acknowledge it's good to have him. But thank y'all once again. It makes me feel good to see we've got youth that have the potential to make us even better in the future. Thank you.
Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to take time to thank all of you young people for taking some time off school. I know how important school is to you and how much you want to stay at school today. So, thank you all for coming and spending the day with us. It's exciting to be able to allow you all to see everything that happens here, so you can go back and tell other people about what all happens, and we don't just sit up here and waste time. There are a lot of moving parts that take place to make sure that our parish runs as smoothly as it does. And so grateful to have each and every one of the commissioners here, especially the ones that I invited. Lindsay goes to Northwood, and I have the pleasure to serve there on staff, and she was just talking about what she wanted to do. We had career day, and she wants to be an attorney. I think she still does. And so we were talking about that, and I said, well, wow, even when I do commissioner for a day, of course I wanted to get 2 students from our district, from the Great Woodlawn High School, where Commissioner Jackson had the pleasure of attending and graduating. But I wanted to invite her, especially because she wants to do this. And so just listening to her and picking up on what she wanted to do, I was like, this will be a great opportunity to get the young people who are interested in this to see exactly what it is we do, so that they can get an inside track on their careers. And so I'm thanking you all for coming out and spending the day with us, and I hope you enjoyed your time. Thank you, Mr. President.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank all the students for coming out today, and especially my son. Since this is my last year on the commission, I want to make sure that he got an opportunity to see exactly what we do. His sister, which is older, she also had the opportunity to do this as well. And now she works at the courthouse, and she's also an active member of the Air Force Reserves. So I think by doing this, it gave her some insight of what she might want to do in the future. So this is just a stepping stone for her, and I hope that today brightens his future, that he'll decide on what he wants to do in life once he gets out of high school.
Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. It was such just a welcoming moment just to have so many young people who has an interest in government. Some of them arrived this morning at 9 a.m. They were so excited about having this opportunity to be engaged in government. We know that these are the future leaders of Caddo Parish. And not only is this a celebration because of NACO reserving this month for us to be recognized, this is also about education. It's also about empowerment. I'm proud to say that I have my middle son, Wellington Watts, here today. My oldest son, Carrington Watts, also was a guest commissioner for a day, who now attends Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge, and he was just inducted as a Black Scholar. And I hope and I do believe that this gave him a lot of encouragement to continue on his path, and who knows what he's going to study, because he's just jumping all over the place. But I have at least 5 guest commissioners up here who are doing excellent in their school achievements, and we are just so proud of each one of you. We talk about our children all the time and how to make things better, but I know and I believe that you have the core answers to what we really need. It's hard to plan a birthday party for people that you don't know anything about. And I believe if you go to those sources that you can get the answers that we're seeking for. So I want you to know, don't let this be your last time, just because we took the moment today to celebrate our achievements and to recognize you, to let you know that we are working because we are working towards a better future. We believe that we are going from great to greater in Caddo Parish. We are proud of our parks. We are proud of our juvenile detention center. That is not only for intervention, but for prevention. And I know that you got exposed to a lot of things that you did not know about government today, and I hope that you will continue to seek more information and continue to be involved. We're counting on you just like you're counting on us. Thank you.
All right. Last and final, I want to congratulate these young people for taking the time out to come here and spending a long day. It's been a long, grueling day for many of you. When we talked about the program, we talked about high school students. I only have middle schools in my district, Warner Park, and elementary school, Queensboro, Warner Park, and Claiborne Middle. So at the last minute, I said, well, I gotta find somebody. I don't have a high school in there. So I thought about Ashley, and Ashley has talked about becoming an attorney. Matter of fact, she was trying to decide what high school she would go through after she leaves Linwood Charter. And she had a choice to go to Byrd, Captain Shreve, and Huntington. Huntington has a law magnet. And she said, well, that's where I want to go, because she wants to be an attorney in child support services. So, you know, for kids that young to already have an idea of where they're going, I didn't realize mine until about the second year in college. Now they're starting to think early on, because the schools in many cases are presenting that. So again, we want to thank you for coming, and I want to know if there's any comments from the students. This is your time. Here's a mic. You have one there if you want to make any comments about your day. I see Mr. Walker already at the mic. Mr. Walker?
Just to piggyback what was said earlier, I do highly encourage this to be a continuation to happen more often, just for kids and the youth to get understandings of what's happening in our community, for them to one day possibly be involved or be in y'all's seats today, because you never know what's to come, and starting them early is never too early. Thank you.
All right. Joy? Jordan.
Hello.
Jordan. A transplant from California, as I remember. Okay.
As far as Ashley was wanting to do, I personally go to Huntington, and I'm part of the Law Magnet program.
Okay.
And I'm actually going down the exact same path that she's going down. I just wanted to say it is an excellent school with a lot of opportunities. I hope you go through with that, because it's a great path.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments?
I think we have one here.
Yeah, don't be shy. Okay, just state your name, because I can't see you from here.
Right here.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. But I just want to thank you all for giving us this amazing opportunity to be here today, because obviously it's not an ordinary thing that high school students get to come in here, especially Ashley, you being so young and you being here with all these juniors and seniors, and it's honestly it's an honor, to be honest, and I really enjoyed myself today. I had a lot of fun being around everyone, and I can definitely say my favorite part about today was going to the juvenile court, just simply because it's somewhere that I wouldn't see myself stepping into, and being in there and seeing, you know, kids who have put themselves in positions there. And it was an opportunity. And I do also just want to encourage Ashley to just keep going and keep pursuing what you want to do. And I think you're definitely headed on a very bright path with a very bright future. So thank you.
Now, this is the one that don't talk a lot.
All right. I just wanted to say thank you to Miss Stormy, because I kind of crossed the threshold a little late, and I really believe that I wasn't going to have many questions since this wasn't a profession that I wanted to take on, but I did have a lot of questions, and this will help me when I get older or even now, because there are certain things that I can do to prevent the problems that we do have now, especially with our kids that are growing up. So even if this isn't a profession that I want, it all affects us, period.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Braylon Staple?
You do.
Okay, who we have here?
Lindsay.
Lindsay. Okay, Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr. President. This morning when I came, I was nervous and I didn't really know what I was walking into, but I knew that I wanted to be an attorney, and this really put things into perspective for me. So I'd like to thank all of y'all for this opportunity, and it really made me realize what I want to do. And so thank y'all.
All right. Okay, Mr. Braylon, Lindsay.
I just wanted to say thank you again for everyone who's helped in this, who's put this on, invited students to come, myself included. I just want to say thank you. When they first asked if I wanted to come, I'm gonna be honest, I did not know anything about the commission. So coming has let me know more, and I've learned more, and I'm glad and thankful for it.
Thank you. Madison Gorey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say thank you to all of the commissioners. This has been an amazing opportunity for me. I've soaked up so much knowledge that I didn't even know before, because as said previously, I really didn't know what a commissioner was. And now that I see in government how much the community runs on commissioners, like, it was just amazing. And I just want to say thank you. This is an amazing opportunity. So thank you.
Mr. Gage Watt.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say I'm glad I had the opportunity to see what these commissioners go through, and it's just not, they're just wasting time and just sitting there and talk. They actually out there doing stuff to help people more. And to like the juvenile detention center is what really I saw, and I couldn't see myself in that position. So I just want to thank you to my mom for letting me have this opportunity.
So now when she's late fixing your dinner, you know what she's doing.
I'm just shuffling through over here. Hello, everyone. I want to say thank you to all the commissioners. Oh, sorry, I'm Ava Richardson. I want to say thank you to all the commissioners who invited everyone here. I also want to say thank you to the participants. Y'all have been so wonderful to just meet with and ride with on a bus and go walk everywhere. So thank y'all for being wonderful and helping increase the amount of people who want to help our community.
All right.
Okay. Yes, sir. All right. My name is Cameron Wilson, and I just want to thank everybody for just letting us be a part of this program and allowing us to know a lot of things that go behind the scenes that we just don't pay attention to and just didn't know at first. And this program is just very just professional. We learned a lot, and just want to thank everybody.
Any more? Ashley, want to say something? Well, as you said, Ashley was the youngest one here, and they really took the time. I was just noticing how they worked with her, and well, you really don't have to talk to her because she's going to talk to you regardless. But she really blended in. And who's that? Yeah, I got him on here. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? You good? She's good. All right, Dr. Wilson.
Yes, sir. President Burrell and Commissioner, it was very delightful having this group of young people with us today. They were very attentive. When we were speaking to them throughout the day, they paid attention and got a little feedback from the staff. They asked some very difficult and tough questions. So they have unique keenness and interest in government, and I pray the very best for them and their future success. And come back, and I did tell you all this morning, we work for you all. So hold us accountable. If you do see things going right, let us know. And we will certainly appreciate the feedback and make the necessary adjustments. But at the end of the day, it's about you. We serve you. And thank you for allowing us to serve you today, up front and personal. Thank you.
Well, that's what you saw was leadership quality in these youngsters.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think a lot has been said, and I echo all of that has been said. I think my hope is that as our youth watch and have learned all day is that government is more than what you see on TV. If you watch the 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, read the newspaper, follow social media, you would think that a lot of times government is not working. You would think that it's dysfunctional. You would think that just because Todd is a Republican and I'm a Democrat, that we don't have any type of relationship or get along. And my hope is that you learn today that government is more than the talking heads that you see on TV. And I'm not bashing the media or anything. I just know that there is a narrative that is put out there that government does not work and that government is not working for you all. And then my challenge is that you go back to your respective schools, your institutions, your homes, your neighborhood, your clubs, and let your friends, families, and whoever know that, you know, there's more to this than what we always see. I got my inspiration to get involved in public service through a trip. When I was a student at Woodlawn, we went to Washington, D.C., and walking across the Capitol said, I want to do that. Didn't know what it was, but I wanted to do that. And so that spark can be lit at any moment. Don't wait. And then the last thing that I want to encourage you all to do is form a bond beyond just today. Exchange numbers, get each other's emails, and just talk to each other, because I just believe that some of the divisiveness, some of the manufactured divisiveness that we see in our country is ultimately going to be solved by the generation to come. Because we have to, we're at a point in our society where people prefer to be over here. But what you should have saw today is that it takes all of us, it takes all ideas to make these institutions work. And I know that there are some future leaders up here, because I hear some, thank you, Mr. President, I hear some, let me piggyback up on that. So it's already there.
Yeah,
it's already there. And so get involved in student government, student council at your high school. Get involved at the student senate in college. For those of you going off to college, stay involved and just know that it's a lot of hard work, and we appreciate you all for coming down, and we're looking forward to you all coming back, because Caddo Parish and Shreveport needs you.
Amen.
There's a lot of folks already in Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, wherever. Shreveport and Caddo Parish will only grow if you come back and put in the work to make it grow.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I just want to make a final comment. I was speaking to Ava. I remember Ava, when she came back today, I said, oh, well, you were just here at 4-H. And I mentioned to Ava, when the 4-H group was down, it would be great if they would get involved in helping us deal with this juvenile issue. You get ideas for these young people. They had an opportunity today to go to the Juvenile Correction Center, and we struggle a lot with how we can deal with that issue. And if there's any project that I would ask you to consider as a group, would be to sit down and brainstorm and maybe send a recommendation to us as to what you think that we can do. That would be invaluable to us because we passed that mark. You all are there. These are people that you know, people that you've seen in school that's no longer there. They're incarcerated. It would be a great help to us. With that, we'll move on with the meeting. Mr. Clerk.
All right, that brings us.
Commissioner Gage Watts?
Yes. I would like to suspend the rules and move up the item, I think it's 20.1?
20.1?
Yes.
Second.
Sorry, she ready.
All right, we got a motion by Commissioner Gage Watts and a second by Commissioner Jackson to move up 20.1, I believe it is.
Yes, and before we take that item for consideration and before I speak, I would like for all of the guest commissioners to stand where they are and look at Ms. Crystal for a photo because we know they'll be leaving at 4:30. So if you would just stand where you are and commissioners stay seated, just our guest commissioners.
Notice y'all didn't put none down right here by me.
And we put on our suits just so, like this?
No.
Y'all didn't want them to come down here to the rocker side.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Gage Watts and a second by Commissioner Jackson to move 20.1 up. We can vote?
Commissioners Epperson and Cochran. Okay, that motion carries with 12 in support, none in opposition.
Okay.
And that we will now bring up item 12.1.
So moved.
I'm sorry, 20.1, which is the appointment of Ms. Erica Bryant as Caddo Parish Administrator effective immediately upon the retirement of Dr. Woodrow Wilson, Jr., with salary to be determined by July 14th, 2023.
Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Jackson, second by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Jackson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I think that, thank Dr. Wilson for his service, outstanding leadership, and I know that we always have had our conversations on and off the record, and I remember telling you that I had something to tell you before you got out of here. I might as well just tell you now, I do believe, and I hadn't got there yet, but I do believe I am a better person for working with you. We sit and we talk and we disagree, but we don't become disagreeable. And sometimes I hang up the phone in a huff, you hang up the phone in a huff, and then we come back the next day and figure it out. And we move forward from there. But we never, talk each other down. And I can tell you that in an open setting as opposed to telling you in the back. And I appreciate what you have brought. I haven't worked with you obviously the longest up here, but I have enjoyed my opportunity to work with you. To Ms. Bryan, I think she is a capable and competent individual who will lead this parish into the next iteration of what it will be. I don't know if your being out was a test run or a trial run of that, but I'm just glad that we're not the Baptist deacons that I told were in Cedar Grove at one time. They say he went out to preach a revival and came back, and the church deacons had voted him out. Had voted him out.
True story.
And I'm told it was the churches at the corner of West 70th and Line Avenue.
True story.
So that's what I heard.
True story.
But I do believe that Ms. Bryant will do an excellent job. I've appreciated you getting her more involved in what goes on, because I tell folks it's difficult for what we do as elected officials, but what you all see as an appointed official. And I think, Erica, what you try to do is bridge the gap and sometimes bridge the understanding. And so my hope is that my pastor always says, when you're dating, you meet a representative. So I hope we hadn't met your representative and we've actually got to know who you are. I invited your sorority sisters down. I'm told that they're going to wait until the investiture or swearing in. It's probably too many of them to come. So, but I'm looking forward to it, and I know that this board will probably light up with comments to say, but I look forward to working with you as an administrator, and good luck and congratulations in advance. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioner and guest commissioners, it gives me great pleasure of this historic opportunity to support the appointment of Mrs. Erica Bryant as the next Caddo Parish CEO and administrator. Mrs. Bryant has exemplified her ability to lead this organization through various capacities, including professional leadership roles and experience in government affairs for over 25 years. She's been mentored, and you heard me say this morning, guest commissioners, by one of the best administrators on this side of heaven. That's Dr. Woodrow Wilson, as our current CEO and administrator for 17 years. And for those 17 years, she has received his endorsement as being one day a great administrator. Yearly on her evaluation, she has a true servant heart. She's integral. She's dedicated to excellence in every aspect, as I know you saw on today. I have no doubt that she's the most qualified and best person to continue taking this organization from great to greater. I look forward to passing this bipartisan legislation and selecting Mrs. Erica Bryant as our new CEO and administrator immediately upon Dr. Wilson's retirement. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. To my fellow commissioners and guest commissioners, first let me say, Dr. Wilson, congratulations on your retirement. I want to personally thank you for your mentorship. From day one, you helped me get going, being appointed on the commission, and just helped me feel my way around, making sure that any questions that I had, you answered them as thoroughly as you possibly could, and helped me in every way. So I want to thank you for that. Thank you for your leadership for 17 years, making sure that the parish ran as smoothly as it did. And thank you for also mentoring Ms. Bryant so that she would be in this position. Oftentimes we see that a lot of people do not want to pass the baton, and they don't want to prepare those who are to come after them. But you have done an excellent job with doing that, and so I want to commend you for that. Ms. Bryant, I want to say to you, congratulations on being in this position. I believe that you're going to be more than capable of doing this, and I hope that all of my fellow commissioners feel the same way, that this is the best course of action to make sure that we have a steady hand of leadership and a smooth transition to the next administration. So again, thank you, Dr. Wilson. Congratulations, Ms. Bryant.
Thank you.
Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with the words of many of my fellow commissioners, but I will reiterate, Dr. Wilson, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your organizational leadership and for your personal mentorship. I'm very grateful for that, and I wish you the best in your retirement as we approach that date. And as I've mentioned in the past, a great sign of a good leader is preparing your successor. That's one of the most important roles, and you've obviously done that with Ms. Bryant. We'll be very pleased to see her rise to the seat which you have occupied these last 17 years. So thank you for your leadership in respect to developing the next generation. And Ms. Bryant, we look forward to working with you, full confidence in your ability moving forward. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Wilson, your years of service not only in the military, but also here is spoken for it. I've heard about some of your departmental meetings you have with the department heads and how you mentor those, that you take them in and you try to build their character and build their morals to be able to do the job that they do. I can tell that you have a lot of patience and you're a true man of God, because some of the situations you've been in, you did not lose your temper. You stayed cool, calm, and professional. And it takes patience and being a true man of God to be able to do that. Ms. Bryant, you came in as a consultant and you went to a department head, and then you did dual roles, not only in the finance, but you did also HR. And now that you are the assistant parish administrator, you can tell the work that you have done has been magnificent, because when you look into the audience and some of the parish employees all here, they're smiling, they're supporting you. So if we was making this vote and they didn't like it, they wouldn't be here. So. Congratulations, and I've always supported both of you guys.
I appreciate it too, sir.
That's it.
All right, Commissioner Hopkins.
You know, I've had the great pleasure of working with Miss Bryant since the day she came to the parish, back in the mid-90s. She came in as Assistant Director of Finance. And then when Mr. Hugh Walmsley retired, she moved up, and she is unbelievable in the work she does. She is a professional, no doubt. And when we went to move her to assistant administrator, I was a little concerned. But then I watched, and she has taken the time and tutelaged Miss Barnett, and Miss Barnett's done a great job. But I just want to say, we couldn't pick a better person to put in as administrator. One of the things she does, people really don't understand, is she listens to everyone first. And she's able to help, in a lot of times, diffuse things that could turn ugly here for us. But she's able to help with that. She also is that bridge to the great employees we have out there. And she's well respected, both on this dais and each one of those departments. And so I will definitely be supporting her as the next administrator. Mr. Wilson, I want to roast you at a later date. Thank you.
Be gentle.
All right, Commissioner Epperson.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Have a couple of drinks
Dr.
before
Wilson, I don't know how you've done it. I think if I had your job, I would have worn out a sack of baseball bats by now. But I don't see how you've done it. But you have not satisfied everybody, but you have calmed the waters, and we are in a position where we are fiscally strong, AAA bond rating, employees in good shape, got good employees. Don't tell them now, they'll get the big head. Let the employees know. And but like I said, I think you have done a magnificent job, and you know, you and I.
Yes, sir.
I've called you and I've let you know how the cow eat the cabbage, as Mr. Pearson used to say, and you let me know how. So I applaud you for your work, and it's almost like you came into a forest, cleared the timber, tilled the soil, planted the seeds, and now it has come to fruition.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Bryant, and all of you, you all know that I turned 26 on 13th of March. And I remember when Ms. Bryant came to us as a consultant doing an audit, I believe, on the 4th floor of the courthouse. And I looked over there and she was sharp. I said, "Who is that woman?" And they said, "Well, she's with the, I forget the name, what is it, KPM? Yeah. I said, "We need to get her." And look what we have now. She can crunch those numbers. And I call her and I say, "Don't lie to me." "What do you think about this?" This is what I'm, and when she tell me, I'll use her advice. And I know that we have
an excellent choice, and I'm very proud of where we are at this point in time. And Mr. President, if I may, my guest commissioner would like a comment relative to this issue. Is that permissible?
That's fine.
Hello, I'm Susie Jordan, and me personally, I don't know Miss Bryant, but as Commissioner Epperson mentioned to his shadowers, Miss Bryant is the first woman to be appointed to administrator in the history of Caddo Parish. And I just wanted to say, as a young woman trying to make a mark on this world, I appreciate you for being such a role model to all of us young women trying to make a difference.
All right. Erica, did you pay for that remark or what? Commissioner Carlton.
Mr. President, fellow commissioners, student commissioners as well. As I sit here and I look, the first thing that comes to mind is from the military. And there's a word that we use called leadership. Dr. Wilson.
Thank you, sir.
And the definition goes, the art of influencing in such a manner in the absence of the mission is successfully completed.
Thank you, sir.
You have done that well.
Thank you, sir.
You have trained those soldiers behind you that will come in your absence to lead us forward.
Yes,
I thank you. I thank Ms. Bryant most of all. When our president gave me the ARPA committee, of which I didn't even know what ARPA stood for, and she sit me down and explained everything in detail. The thing is, being a new kid on the block, there's a lot of questions that you can ask. And the thing is, again, I have yet to ask any question or make any phone call that was not returned or a answer given that made sense and a direction in which I could follow. So I thank you, Dr. Wilson, for what you've done.
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Bryant, I look forward to working with you not only today, but as many years as my constituents choose to elect me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Wilson, I've only known you 4 years, but I've witnessed perfectly stellar service from you every one of those years. You have a very hard job. You have to run a government, and you also have 12 ornery bosses to deal with. I can't imagine anybody else doing that job as well as you. It's impossible to imagine anybody doing that job better than you, except for Ms. Bryant. I think that she's going to grow into an example that even excels her teacher.
Yes, sir.
And that's what we all want
Yes, sir.
when we teach.
Yes, sir.
And we want to thank you for everything you've done for her and for us by grooming her into this role, and for the people of Caddo Parish. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, sir.
All right. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. I'm looking forward to the roasting of Dr. Wilson from Commissioner Hopkins. I know he's been here probably the longest besides Commissioner Epperson, but it's been tough having to run the parish, I'm sure, with 12 different personalities. But the Bible tells us in Galatians 6:9, let us not grow weary in doing well doing, and that's exactly what you've done, Dr. Wilson.
Thank you, sir.
So I know you've had to navigate the personalities of 12 different people, and I can just tell you personally from myself, you've been a leader, you've been a mentor, you've been a father figure, and you've been a friend.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm looking forward to more words on your exit, on your way out, and I know that day will come. So as we transition to Erica, I thought about if I should say this publicly, because she knows the personal compliment that I always tell her, because I don't want to push anybody else down, but I tell her this all the time since I've met her some 8 years ago. I think she's the most intelligent person in Government Plaza on all 8th floors. So for the other departments that may be watching, or the other city services she's taken, I have a feeling this unanimous vote is going to pass. But it's interesting because as our next leader, people look at and what they believe is a leader is not always the loudest person in the room. The words that I thought about saying about Erica, they've already been echoed by a lot of these commissioners around this room. Respectful, she listens, she's professional, she's sharp. It's all those things that makes her amazing, but it's how she makes all of us feel, where She personally gives each one of us her attention, her undivided attention, to help us and every single person that works for the parish, and that's a true leader. It's one that gives respect and gets it back. So I'm looking forward to Miss Bryant as our next parish administrator to run Caddo Parish and see the great things that's about to happen. So congratulations, Erica. Thank you, President.
All right. Well, finally, on this end, many of you know that I've made my rounds in government. First in city government, then state government, now in parish government. Believe it or not, the first office I ran for was parish commission. That was the first office I ran for, actually. And I really wasn't sure much about parish, running, being involved in parish government, but you made it interesting. I thought it was a bore, but it's not really a boring area. But Dr. Wilson, much of the work that you do have, you almost have to be a Superman in order to do it. But I'm glad to know that we can replace a Superman with a Superwoman. And that is Miss Bryant. When I first came on the commission, we sat and talked up in the restaurant, I put it that way. And she wanted to get a feel for who I was. And I told her, I said, as long as we're straightforward, we're good. And she has been very much straightforward with me. And I have no problem with her leadership. And I know that she works well with the staff because she has an excellent staff, and she will have an excellent staff. So again, congratulations. Dr. Wilson?
Hold on, Mr. President, I didn't get no restaurant introduction.
I was special.
Some require more special as usual.
Okay.
That's the reason why I didn't name what restaurant it was. Dr. Wilson?
Yes, sir.
Were you on the board?
You're on the board.
He was on the board.
That's a retirement itis already.
I was distracted over here. But anyway, I just want to chime in, not to be lengthy or to prolong anything that was said. I have the luxury of having a great team, and I have a lot of excellent people on my team. But it's hard to pick from among the very best, the best, and it was difficult. But nevertheless, the best rose to the top for this particular occasion and challenge. Going back 17 years ago, when I wrote Ms. Bryant's first evaluation, I told her that one day you will be an excellent parish administrator. And I said it for 17 years on each report. Because I was convinced every year what I saw her done was actually validated my comments. And I told her something else. I said, you were always wise way beyond your years. And I see in her a lot of great potential. And there have been moments that I've had my challenges that she told me to calm down. She said, I know you feel a certain way, but calm down, take a breath, and let's go down there and do what we do. And certainly she has seen me through a lot of situations. When my brother-in-law passed, literally was crying in my office, she can't put her arms around me and say it's going to be all right. So I have a lot of emotions about this. But nevertheless, she deserved the right because we have test-driven the car, and we've seen how excellent it runs and how well it performs. And she's proven. So I think she will be a great administrator. She has my confidence, and I feel great about passing the baton to a person that is going to run the race and not faint. So you all have done a great thing, or will do a great thing when you cast your vote in affirmative for her selection as the parish administrator. And I'm excited about the future, about what's to come next. So thank you all for allowing me this opportunity to speak. It was a great pleasure dealing with each and every one of you all. And thank you. And Commissioner Epperson, thank you for taking me to the first restaurant at Pete Harris. When I first came to work, and I think you and Mr. Rogers and I went to lunch that day. And you said, welcome to the parish of Caddo. And I really appreciate that. We've been communicating ever since. And I feel a certain fondness to everyone on this panel. Thank you all. You all are unique individuals. I will take that with me forever in my heart and my mind and spirit. And I certainly will be cheering for you all from the sidelines. but continue the great work you have begun, and I pray for your very best outcome. And thank you for allowing me to serve you as well as citizens of this parish of Caddo. Thank you.
Well, I don't want to be remiss, but I want to take the opportunity and the privilege to introduce, behind every great woman,
Yes.
there is a great man.
That's
That's
correct.
Mr. Bryan. If you would stand up, please. Mr. Bryan, when she gets stressed out, it's on you, buddy. Okay, we can vote.
Okay. Speak now, forever hold your peace.
All right, and that does pass by unanimous 12 to 4. Congratulations.
Commissioners, I am deeply honored and excited to serve the citizens of Caddo Parish in this new capacity. I would like to thank the Caddo Parish Commission for providing me this wonderful opportunity to lead the parish in this next chapter. I want each one of you to know, whether you know it or not, you have had a positive impact on my career, and for that, I truly appreciate you. Dr. Wilson, you have provided consistent guidance. You have paved the way for success, and I look forward to continuing the work that you've started with this outstanding Caddo Parish team.
Yes.
To my family, I want to say I appreciate you, especially my husband Willie and all my daughters. Without you, I could not be here today. I would like to give special recognition to my mother.
Amen.
She is the person in my life that first showed me what leadership is about.
Amen.
And I appreciate her for that. I would like to also recognize each and every employee of Caddo Parish. They work hard day in and day out to provide exemplary service for the citizens of Caddo Parish, and I thank them for that. We could not be the success we are today without them.
Amen. That's right.
I would like to recognize the administration team. They do nothing but support us day in and day out. I appreciate their dedication. I appreciate their hard work. I appreciate everything that they do to help this parish thrive. To the citizens of Caddo Parish, I will work honorably and consistently on your behalf. I appreciate every citizen. I think that this is an amazing community with amazing people.
Amen.
And together, we can continue and make Caddo Parish the success it deserves to be.
Amen.
Thank all of you all.
Amen.
We're going to take a minute and let our students leave for those who are supposed to be picking them up.
Thanks again. Oh, wait, Braylon. Braylon.
My grandson. Okay. As soon as we get settled, we can continue on.
Mr. President, I call for a 5-minute recess.
Okay, by unanimous vote. 5 minutes.
Can we do 2 minutes?
Last night you were here. Don't forget your certificate. Is that your certificate? Coming back.
No, that's what I do.
Big day. I'm so proud of her. I am. She's I'm a crier. It's just a big deal for her. You know, that's what we worked for 20 years. We always like to
Oh, okay. That's more than 2 minutes.
So proud. So proud.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah. We were actually taking bets before Halloween. And how long was it take for the drive? Erica was like, here.
We were just wondering how long before she started, not if she was going to. And you know we pick up.
I know. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, she gone. No, Macy's on Facebook takes a picture. Oh, that's better. Well, there he is. He's right over there. He just walked back from the room. He's on the other side. At least, no, this is out.
That's how I get their name right. Lisa's name is short. Lisa's name is long. That's what I do with my mom before I call her. Well, no, but she's significantly taller.
Ready to go?
I bet, what is it, Alyssa's like?
Yeah.
This is like a little bit.
We just like a running joke. She's like, I'm taller than you. No, baby. We was like, I don't know. I'll tell you.
59. Yep. got 1 minute.
I have a few.
Check your email, huh?
I don't know how you can function now. Parents may be very restricted, you know, about that.
Y'all getting old.
9, 7.
Let's start with yeah.
Commissioner, let's come back and be seated. We need to get things moving.
Move, we go back to regular order on the agenda.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, so I believe that motion was by acclamation, is
By
correct? I see
acclamation,
no
yes, sir.
opposition. So we'll move back into the regular order, which brings us to adopting regular session minutes.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Young, second by Commissioner Atkins. Commissioner Young?
Thank you.
Okay, we can vote?
And Commissioners Jackson and Chavez? Yep, he's gone. There we go. That's 11 in support, none in opposition, and that carries. So that brings us now to special resolutions, where we have a number of special resolutions today. I know that we have one to be presented. I'm not aware of if we have anyone here for the other items. Would you like me to read them and take them up one at a time, or would you like to take them up in a group and then present?
We need to vote on it first, huh? Okay. Motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, I'd like to englobo and adopt special resolution number 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, 8.4, 8.5, 8.6. Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Commissioner Jackson?
I want to go ahead and do the presentation for that.
Okay.
For Ms. Geneva Moore, I'm sorry. Am I saying it right?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Well,
did the rest of the group leave?
Most of them.
Oh, well, they worried about the park, because we would have paid for their parking.
Yes, we did.
I'm sorry.
Okay, at this point, Mr. Clerk, are you going to read the resolution, or are we going to?
Well, at this point, I think it would be appropriate if you want to go ahead and vote, and then after the vote, I'll read the presentation to be presented.
Let's vote.
And that vote carries with 12 in support, none in opposition. And I believe we do have a presentation today to Ms. Geneva Moore. And so if you would like, I could read this into the record as we stand, and those who are here to receive it on our
Please
behalf
stand.
may make their way up to the podium. And this proclamation reads, whereas Ms. Geneva Moore will be honored by the National Sorority of Phi Delta Kappa Incorporated, a professional organization of women in the field of education, as they celebrate their 100th anniversary conclave on July 16th to the 20th, 2023, at the Omni Orlando Resort in Champions Gate, Florida. And whereas Ms. Geneva Moore was born in Newellton, Louisiana on August 15th, 1915, educated in Caddo Parish, received her high school diploma in 1935 from Central Colored High School in Shreveport, Louisiana, received her Bachelor of Science degree in 1940 from Southern University A&M College in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and received her master's degree from Howard University in Washington, D.C. in 1953. And whereas Miss Geneva Moore began teaching in Caddo Parish schools in 1941, taught at Central Colored High, West Shreveport Elementary, and retired as a home economics teacher at J.S. Clark Junior High School in 1972, with over 30 years of dedicated service to the students of Caddo Parish. And whereas the Beta Alpha chapter of Shreveport was disbanded due to integration in Louisiana, Miss Geneva Moore, along with other sorority members, was instrumental in the reactivation of the chapter during the 1963 conclave held in Los Angeles, California. Whereas Miss Geneva Moore has served the sorority by participating on the AOIP Assault on Illiteracy program, the Commission on Civil Rights, Founders Day, scholarships, sickle cell anemia radiothon, Southwest Regional Conference exhibits, vendors and transportation, Teacher-Rama, Touch a Child, and Zenos and Kudos youth committees. Whereas Miss Geneva Moore has been a member of the Lakeside Baptist Church and the 13th District Association of Christian Education, National Baptist Convention USA for 65 years. A member of the National Sorority of Phi Delta Kappa Incorporated, Beta Alpha Chapter for 69 uninterrupted years of service, embodies the sorority's 100th anniversary conclave theme, still standing, still serving, still strong, 100 years of dedication, commitment, and service to education, and a devoted Shreveport resident for over 107 years. Now therefore be it resolved, the Caddo Parish Commission does hereby proclaim Monday, July 18th, 2023 as Miss Geneva Moore Day in the parish of Caddo, and urges everyone to celebrate this wonderful day, and witness whereof the seal is affixed on behalf of the Caddo Parish Commission.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Clerk. This is we have a centenarian here in our community, and we wanted to make sure that we recognize Ms. Geneva Moore. I asked Ms. Baker if Ms. Moore would be attending the conclave in Orlando, and she said she decided to sit this one out. So, I can look at this and tell if Ms. Moore worked at West Shreveport and Central, she probably worked with my grandmother and probably taught my mother. So, because my grandmother worked at Central and my mother went to West Shreveport, and so she's more than likely had an impact on my life in some kind of way. But I want to invite the members of Phi Delta Kappa, National Sorority of Phi Delta Kappa up to say some words. I am a former Kudos with Miss Janice Relaford. I would have come through Janice Horton at the time, but I did come through that program, and it was very impactful. So I want to thank y'all for being here on her behalf, and feel free to have some comments for Ms. Moore. Thank you. And Jeff, can we frame this to get to Ms. Moore?
We can.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And
Ladies.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. On behalf of the Beta Alpha chapter of the National Sorority of Phi Delta Kappa, I am Carolyn Baker, the president, and this is my good friend and advisor, Ms. Kathleen Johnson, and who's had the pleasure of working and being around Ms. Moore. Ms. Moore is 107 years of age. I don't know if you heard that. She is 107 years of age, and she'll be 108 in August of this year. And she's still in her right mind. She still has conversations. She still has a sense of humor. She is still a beautiful person.
Better than most of us.
And so we are just indeed glad as we go and celebrate our 100th year conclave in Florida this year, still standing, still strong, still educators, that we are more than glad to be here. Looking at one of my babies, Stormy, that I taught back in the day when she was at Fair Park High School, and my good friend Erica Bryan. I was just glad to be here and witness that, and to see so many beautiful people here. Thank you all so much for this honor. We appreciate it, and we will continue to do the service that has been entrusted to us as educators for this community.
Just to add a little note, then, you all have heard everything in the proclamation. We want to say thank you so much, and to you, President Burrell, thank the whole entire commissioners, and for all of that you do for our city. And just one tidbit, at 107, Mrs. Moore teaches a Bible class each Wednesday and Sunday mornings. And this is by Zoom. So she's still teaching, still giving back to the communities. And if y'all need a little lesson on how to use Zoom, how to manage your page, then you can call her. But she's very active, and thank you all so much for the presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, Stormy and I was debating. I thought I heard them say 1915. I said, Stormy, they look pretty good for 100 and something years old. So we had a little laugh going on there. So I had to run the figures up in my head. I said, oh.
They're accepting on her behalf.
Okay. I'm glad they clarified that. All right, Mr. Clerk.
All right, that brings us now to communiques and committee reports.
Okay, get on the board for any communiques.
And that does include the admin response for any information requests.
Commissioner Epperson.
Yes, sir. Mr. President and colleagues, I'd like to call a Veterans Affairs Committee meeting for Monday, May 1st at 2:30 p.m. Monday, May 1st, 2:30 p.m. All members of the Veterans Affairs Committee, please note.
Okay.
That's all I have, sir.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. On this Saturday, April 22nd, from 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., Keep America Beautiful and Love the Boot Shreveport Green citywide cleanup will be held in the Moortown area. If you are interested in volunteering, please contact me. And on next Saturday, April 29th, I will be participating in the Heart Walk at Festival Plaza beginning at 8 a.m. If you need a team to join the Heart Warmers. You can find me on Facebook or look on the AHA page. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to, I know we call them out a lot here, but Patrick and Katina, appreciate y'all for jumping in. There was a group that was trying to get something done, and I think they were trying to get it done for Sunday. We didn't get called until Wednesday. So I hope I'm not giving anybody out there any ideas. That's not how we prefer to do things, but y'all made it work. People don't understand that it takes a lot to get stuff done, and so y'all didn't complain, y'all didn't grumble. That's why I don't mind when y'all come ask for the safe summer and the grab and go stuff, because y'all literally just make it work. And I want to say thank you publicly for doing that. I was not in town, but people managed to find your number, and then I always just go find y'all's number and ask y'all, can y'all make this work for me? So I appreciate that. The other thing that I would like to say thanks to Sheldon. I don't know if the one that's the last one is tonight, or was it yesterday? Yesterday. Thanks, Sheldon, and thanks to administration for the housing forums. I hope enough was gathered. I hope there was something that was gathered there to also figure out how to possibly fund our housing trust fund long term. But we have an opportunity to gather this feedback, and I'll be looking forward to see what is to come. I will, and I'd like to put it on the members' calendars now, is I'd like to schedule a juvenile services committee meeting for Tuesday the 25th, probably around noon or 11 a.m. or around noon. We have an important issue, and also, Jeff, if you could notify that citizen advisory group as well. I think they'd like to be notified as well. And I do want to impress upon us that we are not considering raising anybody's taxes. We're asking the public, is this something that they would like to do? And so I know I've continued to hear that chatter, is that we may raise someone's taxes. We're not raising anybody's taxes. We're simply asking the public, is this something that you would like to do? And they can say yes, they can say no. It doesn't matter, but I just wanted to throw that out there for public consumption. That's it for me, Mr. President. I'll soon have to leave for a 5 o'clock neighborhood meeting in Cherokee Park. Dr. Wilson, can you find out, I know we had talked about getting those catchments for the ditch cleanup, or trying to work with Ms. Curtis about the catchment for the ditch cleanup. If you could let me know where we are on that. It's gonna get warm soon, and if we can go ahead and catch up on that. Also, maybe if you can ask Tim Weaver or whomever the counterparts at the city with Public Works is, what do they plan to cut that vegetation back? If we're working with Shreveport Green to help clean the actual ditch up, are they willing to cut that vegetation back? And two, are they willing to go and get the catchments that are out there? Right. What is that going to be? I mean, we're helping pick up the cost where we can, and maybe if they can help with the labor piece, that would be appreciated. And then my absolute final thing is if we can get an update on where we are with Caddo Ford. I do see some work taking place. I don't know if that's the work to move those lines. I know they said they were trying to move the lines out of the street to the sidewalks. And so if you could find out from Mr. Daniels and maybe the CAO where they are with that. I do see some trucks doing some work, but I don't know if that is the formal process to start getting Caddo Ford up to speed, and I'd appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to let all my colleagues know that Commissioner Burrell on Tuesday morning and I had a really good meeting at LSU Medical School. You may remember during COVID we commissioned a wastewater study that was designed to help us anticipate what variants of COVID would be in our community rising up and infecting people. During that study, it was also they also tested for drug samples in the water, and they discovered that Caddo and Shreveport have the highest levels ever recorded of methamphetamine in our wastewater anywhere in the world by a factor of 10, which means 10 times more than the previous record. That's a shocking number. It may be shared by other communities that haven't been tested yet, but it is an indication of a crisis that's going on here. They were telling us that about the intakes that they receive and the occupation that it takes on law enforcement's time to deal with people who are having critical events in their lives because of methamphetamine addiction and use. And they also told us that the use of this drug has changed in the last 5-10 years from being a predominantly rural white usage problem to inner city problems, and also among indigenous populations and the African American community. It's apparently rising very quickly. This is a very dark picture, but they gave us really good news, which is that there's a brand new study of a treatment from the University of Alabama at Birmingham Medical School, which they're starting a study to do here also at the medical school. And their hope is to set up a clinic to do this sustainably over the long term to essentially cure people of methamphetamine addiction with a pretty quick process and with a very low relapse rate. So we spoke about a date when they would come and speak to us about this issue and penciled them in for May 4th. So I hope you'll all be here that day to hear this important update from the medical school and the doctors who are working on it there, and hopefully become interested in the idea and what we can do to solve it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Just want to add to that, it was a very informative meeting that we had. We sit on the cusp of a great opportunity, but also a disaster. So we need to look at that, and hopefully we can get some help in that area. I also mentioned to them about fentanyl. I've been hearing lately more and more families that are being affected by fentanyl. I heard just a couple of days ago, one person had 3 people in their family that died from fentanyl. That's horrible. But anyway, that will be coming up. Commissioner Epperson?
Yes, sir. Dr. Wilson and Mr. Wesley, thanks for addressing the security issue at Pinchback Park. I think it had occurred a couple of Sundays ago, and I see you all on it, so I've relayed that information to the constituents that live within that area. And Ms. Frazier, also, would you check with Mr. Bernstein? I had spoken with him when you was absent relative to the city of Colorado Springs. Colorado has an ordinance relative to political signs, and he's looking at that. So we all talking about litter, so we're looking at everything we can to try to abate litter on all areas. Thank you.
Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. To piggyback off of what Commissioner Watt said, it's the clean up the boot day. It's a statewide thing, but I can't let your neighborhood be the only one in competition. So Southern Hills, as normal, we're going to start at 8 a.m. and we're all going to meet at the Southern Hills Park, and we'll convene at 11. We're going to have 2 different groups that are going to meet up in A, clean up the dog park area and really get that ready for the summer. But I wanted to give a shout out to Papa John's. They're fueling all of our guys with free pizzas. So after you're done cleaning, they're going to give each volunteer that comes up an entire pizza to take home. And then our local Starbucks in our district is going to fuel everybody in the morning and over-caffeinate them so they could work hard for 3 hours. And they're doing all that for free as well. So it's nice to have community involvement from different businesses that show up. And Mr. Everson, I want to call a long-range meeting if you can get with the members on the 28th. That'd be next Friday. And Attorney Frazier, I don't see Mr. Bernstein, but what we're looking at is he was supposed to get some zoning examples, and we're looking at some literature to decrease the 5 mile down to 3 mile, as well as look at parish-wide zoning, and he's going to bring that to the committee. So if you can remind him that task is still on the plate. And then, Mr. Everson, when you reach out to the commissioners, if next Friday, the 28th, is good for everybody, I'd like to pick that up and get that out of the way before summer hits. That's all. Thank you, President.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Patrick, want to say thank you for helping out with the Cooper Road USA. This weekend was Cooper Road USA weekend, and the parish was a major sponsor in that. It's part of the Safe Summer program, but just getting the kids off the street, and giving them something to focus positively on. They had different speakers, they had music, they had food, so it was something that brought the community together. As far as Commissioner Young and Commissioner Burrell, I hope that LSU, since they find all this meth that's in the water, that they're working with law enforcement to try to narrow it down to where that is coming from. You know, they can pick the streams and go back to streams and then get more involved into the neighborhood, and you'll find the meth in the neighborhood easy, because they're all kind of signs. So if they can start working with law enforcement, since there's something they don't found, and we 10 times the amount, it should be easy to find, because it does put off an odor. Juvenile detention, are the numbers still up, or we got rid of some of the inmates, juveniles?
At last count, Commissioner, we were at 23, so we are a little down from Monday meeting, but it's still relatively high.
What about the 6 that was supposed to be transferred out? They gone yet?
I believe we're down to 5 that are OJJ, so they are transferring some of theirs, yes, sir.
Okay, and do we increase any in CCC? Look
Still
like I
at
saw
50
something on the news.
No, still at 15, but I did have a conversation with Commander Ferris after the last meeting to clear up. There was a question about the children staying there. They are in the intake unit, they are in their own cells, and when they get out, they only get out with juveniles. Very often only by themselves or with their cellmates, but they're not let out with adults.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And then, Dr. Wilson, I'll still be asking you, what's the status of the garden until I see some work at the garden at the courthouse? That's all I have.
Okay, Commissioner Carlton.
Just want to acknowledge on the 19th of April, 3 of the commissioners went to the Art Fest that was, which we were sponsors of, and the primary through the Caddo Parish schools. And the arts that was displayed there, I have never seen such talent in my life. If you get an opportunity to go this weekend, please, please, please do, because again, those young people have really expended a lot of time and effort towards some of the projects that they have, and they will also be selling some of those projects as well.
Okay, instead of the president's report, I'll just put it in Common Eeks. Northwestern State University Nursing School had a health screening at Salvation Army Boys Club, Boys and Girls Club on Greenwood Road last Saturday on the 15th. It was a very successful program, and I would like to just commend the school on getting involved and staying involved in our community. That is the Northwestern State University Nursing School. With that, Mr. Clerk.
All right, that brings us to public hearing on zoning ordinances and cases, which we have none scheduled today. So we move forward to public hearing on ordinances, where you have 4 matters to be taken up today. Would you like me to read them all at once and then you can open a public hearing, or would you like to take it up one at a time?
That'll be fine.
Okay. The first item, 12.1, is a public hearing for ordinance 6318 of 2023. That's an ordinance to amend Chapter 6 and enact 6-1 regarding temporary uses and otherwise provide with respect thereto. This is from Commissioner Epperson. The next item is a public hearing for ordinance 6319 of 2023. That's an ordinance amending the 2023 budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund to appropriate $60,000 to a grab-and-go feeding program through Caddo Parks and Recreation. The next item is a public hearing for ordinance 6320 of 2023. That's an ordinance to authorize and levy a fee for each service or transaction of the Shreveport Field Office of the Office of Motor Vehicles, Department of Public Safety and Corrections in the amount of $4.50 per service or transaction, except for the procurement or renewal of motor vehicle registration. Authorizing the Caddo Parish Administrator to enter into an agreement with the Department of Public Safety and Corrections and otherwise provide with respect thereto. And the final item open for a public hearing today is a public hearing for ordinance 6321 of 2023. That is an ordinance amending ordinance 6014 of 6014 of 2020, which provided an appropriation of $750,000 for the construction and improvement of Greenwood water lines and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Okay, the floor is now open for this public hearing. Now, if there's anyone here who would like to speak for or against any of these ordinances, if you would come forward. State your name for the record, please.
Yes, Jennifer McKay on behalf of the town of Greenwood. I won't reiterate my comments other than to re-urge the town of Greenwood's opposition to 6321 of 2023. We ask you to vote no.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? Public hearing is closed.
Okay, that brings us now to zoning ordinances for final passage. We have none scheduled, so we'll move forward to your ordinances for final passage under this section today. You have the same 4 items that were just discussed for a public hearing. The first item being ordinance number 6318 of 2023. That's an ordinance to amend Chapter 6 and enact 6-1 regarding temporary uses and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor from Commissioner Jackson, second by Commissioner Stephon Jones. Commissioner Jackson. Okay, we can vote? Oh, Commissioner Hopkins.
Yeah, Mr. President, my only question was, who will enforce this? I guess this is to administration or to legal.
Commissioner, right now we have, it will be, I don't want to say our permits department, but there's a division of the Department of Finance that handles temporary permits for alcoholic beverages and that kind of thing, and so it will be enforced through that mechanism.
Okay, that's what I need to know. Thank you.
Okay, there's no other comment. We can vote.
All right, that motion carries with 12 in support, none in opposition. And that brings us to the next item, which is ordinance 6319 of 2023. That's an ordinance amending the 2023 budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund to appropriate $60,000 to a grab-and-go feeding program through Caddo Parks and Recreation.
Motion by Commissioner Jones and second by Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Jones?
No, sir.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yeah, I would like to advance in Globo ordinance 6319 and 6320.
Sorry?
Which,
And approved.
which ones are these again, please?
6319 and 6320.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, amended by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Watts. We can vote.
And just to restate, that is a motion to englobo and adopt ordinances 6319 and 6320.
Okay.
So this vote would both combine the two and adopt them.
Vote.
Commissioner Lazarus, it looks like it hasn't logged your vote. There we go. And that motion carries with 11 support, 1 in opposition. That brings us to the final ordinance in this section, which is ordinance 6321 of 2023. That's an ordinance amending ordinance 6014 of 2020, which provided an appropriation of $750,000 for the construction and improvement of Greenwood water lines and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Epperson, second by Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Epperson?
Yes, sir. Basically, all of us know through the Appropriations Committee, basically every expenditure that we allocate from this body, there's a CEA, a Cooperative Endeavor Agreement. Even the smallest amounts of $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. This is based upon a situation relative to citizens of the town of Greenwood, as well as citizens in unincorporated areas that use the town of Greenwood water. There have been systematic problems throughout the years. I've been in that area for 20 years, and there have always been problems. And I see no reason why we should have any difference in not having them go into a cooperative endeavor, be transparent with the citizens. Drinking water is a God-given right, and I think everybody should have a say in it. And it wouldn't be anything that would impede their progress. It'll just open up transparency, and it'll be just like any other expenditure that we render to any agency that gets funds from the commission, be they NGOs, other government entities. And I ask for your favorable support to this matter. Thank you.
Commissioner Chavez?
Thank you, President. Commissioners, I'm going to be voting no on this, just because the town of Greenwood is here asking us to vote no on this. Made some calls over there, and they've all asked to vote no for this. So, whereas obviously the water sounds like a good idea, they're asking us no because of some of the literature that's within this legislation. So, I'll follow their lead and vote no on this. Thank you.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yeah, I support wholeheartedly the installation, the installing of a line, the construction, and the improvements. Where I do have a little problem is where we tell Greenwood, we've approved you to do this already, but now we want you to set up a committee, and if you don't do it, you won't get your money. And, when it comes to citizen advisory committees and stuff, that's Greenwood's plant, that's Greenwood's water. If they want to do that, that's fine. I just don't think we should meddle into that part of it. It's kind of like the state likes to meddle in our stuff sometimes. It's about the same thing. Thank you.
Speaking of the state, you think they're meddling now? Commissioner Young?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm a little confused about what was just said about this amendment because cooperative endeavor agreement was mentioned, but it's not in the text of this amendment, which is the underlined section. This talks about a citizens advisory board to make recommendations, and it's got parish commissioners on it, and 2 of the board members are appointed by the parish commission. is that the full content of the cooperative endeavor agreement? Is that going to determine a cooperative endeavor agreement in the future? And why wasn't this put into the legislation before when we voted on it? Was it not considered there? Is this not standard in some way? Is there some sort of conflict going on between the sponsor of the legislation and the town of Greenwood? I'm not sure. So if the sponsor of the legislation could answer that or not, that's my request. Thank you.
No conflict. The constituents of Greenwood, my constituents also. There are numerous people in unincorporated areas that use the town of Greenwood water. There are rate increases. There are issues with the quality of water. There's notifications in the event of emergency situations. And if you are paying for something, the citizens deserve a right to have a voice in it also, plain and simple. Almost like taxation without representation.
Okay, Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. To me, it seems just like we do NGOs. We tell them what they have to do, how they have to do it. Even though they come in and say, well, we want to do this, but there's ways that they have to do it by our corporate endeavor agreement. If Greenwood had the money, they wouldn't have needed the money to get the lines installed and everything else. They came to us asking us to help do this. So if we think that there should be a body in place to help them, they need it. When we had the first freeze, Greenwood water system was the last water system to come back up, whether you know that or not. They had to actually get water come in from Shreveport to serve the area that's on the side of town where Commissioner Epperson stays. I don't know if you knew that or not. So they was being backfed by Shreveport water, which was already struggling to come up, but they came up before Greenwood did. Even Blanchard came up before Greenwood. So there's issues that are there. You know, did we expect temperatures to get like that and stay that low? Not early, but late on as the weather started saying these are things you need to do. We're gonna have freezing temperatures and all that. I guess me working in a refinery, we do things to try to prevent freezing all the time. And one thing that I saw that they could have done is they have, I forget what it's called, but they could have put a scaffold around it, put some type of tarp around that, and put some propane heaters in there. Would have kept the water warm enough and circulated enough to keep it from freezing. That didn't happen. And then there's also been quality issues of water of the taste. They might say it passed all tests, but same thing happens up north. It might pass the test on every test that they might take, but there's still issues with the taste factor. And that's what you need to be worried about is the end user. Because the end user is gonna be the one that's either gonna say, we got good water or we got bad water. All right? So if the commission in that area feels that there should be a body in place because there has not been transparency, because even when the system was down and it was asking all the questions, you know, what's wrong, what's going on, we didn't get a lot of answers. Because I was there asking some of those same questions when we was in the EOC, and I didn't get no answers. So I'm going to support this because I know firsthand what went on with Greenwood water during the freeze, and hope that you all will support it as well. Thank you.
Commissioner Jackson.
Call for the question.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second for the call for the question. Are there any comments? If not, let's vote. Well, the motion by Commissioner Johnson and seconded by Commissioner Jones.
And that motion carries with 11 in support and 1 in opposition. That brings us to now the
vote on the motion.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, that was the, so we're now to the vote on the motion.
Okay. We can vote.
And that motion does carry with 7 in support, 5 in opposition. And so that brings us now to the end of that section, and we move forward to zoning ordinances for introduction by title. 15.1 is to introduce ordinance 6322 of 2023 related to related to Parish Zoning Commission case number 23-1-CTAP, an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, relative to wireless telecommunications, with all of their provisions included herein, and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is 15.2, introducing ordinance number 6323 of 2023. That's related to PZC case 23-2 CTAP. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, relative to data centers, with all of their provisions included herein, and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The third item is the introduction of ordinance number 6324 of 2023 related to PZC case 23-3 CTAP, an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, relative to surfacing requirements for parking lots, and otherwise provide with respect thereto. Just as an aside, those 3 items on Monday, you did request one-page summaries on those. Those have been sent to you by email, and they are also attached herein. So the next item, 15.4, is introducing ordinance 6325 of 2023 related to PZC case 23-5-P. And that is an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located on the western corner of Colquitt Road and Jersey Gold Road. That's in Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from RA Rural Agricultural Zoning District to C1 Neighborhood Commercial Zoning District, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. This is in District 11. That brings us now to ordinances for introduction by title, where you just have one ordinance for introduction today. That is the introduction of ordinance 6326 of 2023, an ordinance amending the 2023 budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Oil and Gas Fund and the Riverboat Fund to appropriate funds for Safe Summer Program. And that brings us now
Point
to...
of order, Mr. Clerk, I just would point out that 16.1, it says advance the introduce. You just might want to clear that up.
Yes, it's just a misprint on the agenda.
Yeah.
However, the title of the ordinance is appropriate, correct, and it was advertised correctly, so
Okay.
I can confirm that. But that does bring us now to work session minutes, where work session minutes are attached for your April 17th meeting.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Johnson. Let's vote.
And that motion carries with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent. That brings us now to resolutions, where you have one item to consider, which is Resolution 21 of 2023. That's a resolution to authorize the acceptance of the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire.
Motion by Commissioner Gage Watts, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Gage Watts.
I'll yield to finance. I think we discussed this on Monday.
Finance.
Yes, ma'am. This is just an annual questionnaire, and it's attached to the resolution that's required by the audit.
Commissioner Johnson.
Like to global in adopt the resolution 21 and the recognition of Parish Davis, Colonel Parish Davis. You can speak to it.
No, I just wanted to advance item 19 to our next regular session in May.
Okay, I take that friendly amendment.
Okay. What is that? Motion by Commissioner Gage Watts and seconded by Commissioner Todd Hopkins. Right. Okay, I'm on top of it. All right, let's vote. Machine running a little slow.
Just
Okay.
one moment. Should be up now.
There we go. Let's vote.
All right, and that motion carries with 11 in support, none in opposition. And that brings us to your second communiques and communiques and reports.
Okay, get on the board for any final comments. Commissioner Evans.
Yes, sir. I just want to clarify a fact about this $750,000. If members would refresh yourself, I think Commissioner Hopkins had an ordinance on to sponsor some money for a line up in his area. I came in and got the $750,000 for Greenwood. Ladies and gentlemen and folks that's listening, I literally had to run the town of Greenwood officials down to tell them what I was trying to do in reference to that $750,000. So, we just want to be for real here, I'm trying to help them out. And they're going to come down and say, we are dipping into their business. Hell, if I hadn't run them down to tell them I had that for them, it never would have been on the table. And you all know the amount of concerns that the town of Greenwood Water has. There's tons of paper that I submitted before this body. And for us to sit here and holler this is government overreach, if we don't want any transparency or any CEAs on a $750,000 expenditure, well, don't burden those little NGOs that come down here for those pennies. Just let them carte blanche do whatever they want. Throughout the 12 years that I've been representing that area, I have bent over backwards trying to work with those people up in the town of Greenwood. And I don't know if they have any elected officials or not, because all I see come down here is an attorney representing them. Are there any elected officials in the town of Greenwood? If you want the facts, ask me. I have the facts. And if they don't want the $750,000, tell them to send it back. Hell, I got somewhere I can send it. Thank you.
All righty then. Commissioner Jones.
Just want to thank you, Mr. President. Just want to take time to say happy belated birthday to our commission president, who
It's May 25, brother.
Yeah, May 25 this year. Wanted to point it out and just give you your flowers while you live. We recently went to NACO, and I got in really, really late on my flight. And our commission president went around knocking on everybody's doors to help me to collect leftovers so that I would have something to eat, because nothing was open at that time of night. And he stayed up until I got to my room and made sure I got those leftovers. So I wanted to publicly tell you thank you for that, and may God bless you with many more years.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. All righty then. Mr. Clerk.
All right.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Now, there we go.